I said, in my face. Why are you in my face? Why are you recording me? Ain't you supposed to be security?
The 32-year-old mom of two maintains her innocence and says she's being sued for $24 million by a security guard accusing the singer of attacking, scratching, and spitting on her back in 2018. And if you're wondering if Cardi was coached to keep a poker face on the stand,
Oh, yeah.
well, that didn't happen. The eyes were rolling, there were yawns, and she answered questions like this.
Why were you concerned?
Because I'm pregnant and this girl's about to beat my ass. Hello?
So she's overweight, right? In your opinion.
She is like security heavy. Like she could protect the building.
So you guys have probably seen a bunch of meme-worthy moments already from the Cardi B trial, and trust me, I've been cackling at these clips just like everyone else. But here's what nobody's actually talking about while they're making SNL comparisons and wig jokes. This entire situation is absolutely ridiculous, and frankly, it reeks of someone trying to cash in on a celebrity's success. We're about to dive deep into everything that led up to this courtroom circus, expose why this lawsuit is more questionable than Cardi's attorney objections, and cover all the best moments that have the internet collectively losing its mind. But buckle up, because what you think you know about this case, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And before we get into the tea spilling, let me be crystal clear about where I stand. Cardi B is being sued for $24 million over what allegedly happened in 60 seconds back in 2018. $24 million for a verbal argument that supposedly lasted less time than it takes to microwave popcorn. But here's where it gets really interesting, and why this case is way more complex than the viral clips suggest. Before we continue though, if you're loving this deep dive into celebrity legal drama, please hit that subscribe button. It genuinely helps the channel grow and lets me keep bringing you the most sophisticated tea-spilling content on YouTube. Trust me, we're just getting started with this wild story. Let's rewind to February 24th, 2018, shall we? Picture this. Cardi B is having what she calls her freshman year of stardom. Bodak Yellow had just blown up 7 months earlier, she's navigating fame, and she's also secretly 4 months pregnant with Culture. Not even her parents knew about the pregnancy yet, because apparently keeping a secret in the entertainment industry is harder than keeping acrylic nails from breaking.
Well, first and first, I didn't want people to know that I was pregnant. Second, I was a little like, I don't want a guy that I work with to know I'm going to a vagina doctor.
When you're a newly famous rapper trying to keep a pregnancy under wraps, you don't exactly book appointments at regular medical offices where paparazzi camp out like it's Black Friday. So Cardi's team arranged for a private Saturday appointment at a Beverly Hills obstetrician's office, the kind where they literally close the entire practice to other patients just to protect your privacy. This is where our plaintiff, Emani Ellis, enters the story. Ellis was working security for the building that housed this medical office. Not security for Cardi, not security for the doctor's office specifically, building security. Think mall cop, but in Beverly Hills. And here's where the stories start to diverge, in ways that should make anyone with half a brain raise an eyebrow. According to Ellis, she was just innocently doing her security rounds when she happened upon Cardi B in the hallway. She claims she made some comment about recognizing the celebrity. You know, as one does when they're supposed to be providing discreet security for a building where someone specifically came for privacy. But Cardi's version? She gets off the elevator on the 5th floor and immediately notices Ellis with a phone, loudly announcing, "Oh my God, Cardi B is here," while appearing to be filming her.
As soon as I'm walking, I felt her walking right behind me. And then she said something. She said, "Oh my God, Cardi B." That's when I turn around. And she got the camera right here, like she recorded me. And I'm like, yo, why you recording me? And she practically did admit that she recorded me, because she said, "Oh my bad," for contact, but she just kept following me. She said it to me and I kept walking.
What if she was not a security guard and she was just a random human and said, "Oh wow, it's Cardi B"? Would you have taken offense to that?
No, I didn't even feel offended when she first said it. I felt offended when she kept following me. She recorded me, and you're supposed to be a security. You're not supposed to be recording patients going to any doctor, any. That's what offended me. When she first said, "Oh my God, it's Cardi B," I just kept power walking and didn't say nothing. I said something the second time she said it, and I turned around and I saw that she was recording me. And I'm like, yo, why are you recording me? Ain't you supposed to be security? And she said, "Oh my bad." Then she kept following me, and now I'm getting annoyed. Like, it's like, you're the security guard of the building.
At a secret medical appointment, where the entire point was avoiding exactly this kind of attention. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm paying for privacy at a medical appointment, especially when I'm trying to keep a pregnancy secret, and security is literally the opposite of secure, I might have some words too. But what happens next is where this whole thing goes from celebrity having a bad day to lawsuit that makes you question everything. Ellis claims that Cardi B violently attacked her, supposedly scratching her face with those infamous coffin-shaped acrylic nails, spitting on her, hurling racial slurs, and basically turning into some kind of pregnant rage monster in a medical building hallway. Cardi's version? A heated verbal argument where they went chest to chest for about 40 to 50 seconds before the receptionist came out and broke it up. No touching, no scratching, no spitting, just two women having words about boundaries and privacy. And here's what's particularly interesting about the timing of all this drama. So if this assault was so traumatic and violent, you'd expect someone to, I don't know, call the police immediately, file charges, seek medical attention right away. Well, Ellis did eventually get cosmetic surgery for a scar on her face. But here's the fascinating part. There's absolutely no evidence linking that scar to this incident. No photos from the day of the incident, no immediate medical records, no police report filed at the time. The lawsuit wasn't filed until 2020, 2 years later. That's 2020 for those keeping track. Right around the time when Cardi B's career was absolutely peak everything. She was making serious money, and everyone suddenly remembered they had grievances with rich celebrities. But wait, it gets better. Ellis is claiming she lost her job over this incident. And according to her lawsuit, Cardi B somehow used her celebrity status to get Ellis fired, and even conspired to have all security footage of the incident erased. Ellis claims Cardi used her celebrity status to get her fired and destroy evidence. But then why wait 2 years to sue? If you knew someone had that much power and was actively working against you, wouldn't you file immediately before they could do more damage? The plot holes are giving me secondhand embarrassment. But it gets even more interesting when we look at what's missing from this case. Here's something that should make every reasonable person suspicious. In a building in Beverly Hills in 2018, with all the security cameras that typically exist in such places, there's apparently zero footage of this incident. Ellis claims Cardi B was part of some conspiracy to erase the footage. Cardi's legal team says they checked extensively for any available security cameras and found none on the 5th floor where this supposedly happened. So either Cardi B is a criminal mastermind who can orchestrate evidence destruction while 4 months pregnant and having her freshman year of fame, or maybe, just maybe, this whole thing isn't as dramatic as someone wants us to believe. But let's talk about what we do have. Contradictory testimonies that keep changing. Ellis testified that Cardi scratched her face, but then couldn't keep her story straight about which side of her face was supposedly injured. She claimed there were racial slurs, but the specific details kept shifting. She said she was traumatized and needed psychological treatment, but somehow managed to wait 2 years to file any legal action. Meanwhile, Cardi has been consistently saying the same thing. It was a verbal argument that lasted less than a minute. They were chest to chest, but no one touched anyone. And the receptionist came out and broke it up before anything escalated further. And speaking of that receptionist, her testimony is absolutely devastating to Ellis's case. But we'll get to that bombshell in a moment. First, let's talk about why this trial has become the most entertaining thing on the internet this week. Now, anyone who knows Cardi B knows that asking her to tone down her personality for a courtroom is like asking water to stop being wet. The woman built her career on being unapologetically herself, and apparently that doesn't change just because there's a judge present. From the moment she took the stand, it was clear we were in for something special. The internet has been absolutely living for these moments, and honestly, I don't blame them. Let's start with the wig situation, because apparently Ellis's attorney thought this was relevant legal questioning. The man actually asked Cardi,
Yesterday you had black hair, short hair, today it's blonde and long. Which one is your real hair? Or are they both real?
Cardi's response?
They're wigs.
Followed by a facial expression that clearly communicated what she thought about the intelligence level of this line of questioning. But it doesn't stop there. The same attorney then asked if she was affiliated with a gang.
Do you have any affiliation at this time with a gang?
Which got objected to immediately, and then pivoted to asking detailed questions about her nail routine. Because apparently in his legal strategy, the key to winning a $24 million lawsuit is understanding the intricacies of coffin-shaped acrylics with rhinestones. Cardi patiently explained that her nails were coffin-shaped and not sharp, basically the least threatening nail style possible. She even pointed out that none of her nails broke during this verbal altercation, which you'd expect if she was actually clawing at someone's face. Then we get to the disability question, which produced one of the most perfectly Cardi responses in legal history.
You were causing a disturbance. Maybe
I
she
wasn't
wanted to
causing a
record you.
disturbance.
Do you own the building of 8920 Wilshire Boulevard?
A doctor's office.
Do you agree that you were a guest in that building? You were
Yes.
a visitor, correct? When a security officer tells you to leave, are you supposed to leave?
Objection, Your
Yes or
Honor.
no? You were causing a disturbance in the building.
She started the disturbance.
Do you remember yesterday you said that there was a verbal altercation between the two of you? Do you remember that?
Yes.
It's a verbal fight. You had a verbal fight with her. You used the F word during that fight, didn't you?
Yes.
What other words did you use? Tell us in your own words what you said.
I said, on my face. Why are you in my face? Why are you recording me? Ain't you supposed to be security?
Tell it to
Why-
her now. Go ahead.
Huh?
Say it again. Say it.
Objection, Your Honor.
You want me to say it to
I
her
want
face?
you to tell it to her face what you said on that day so she can hear it for herself
Objection
again.
is sustained.
Your Honor, do we have civility in the court?
And if you wanted to scratch or cut her face with your right hand or your left hand, if you wanted to do it, you could have done it, correct?
But
You're
I
not
didn't.
disabled.
But
right?
I didn't because I had a baby inside me.
How did she know?
When the attorney kept pressing about whether she considered herself disabled during the incident,
Are you disabled? Yes or no?
At that moment, when you're pregnant, I'm very disabled. You want me to tell you the things I can't do?
Fine. What was your...
the entire courtroom burst into laughter. She continued, "I was pregnant. I couldn't protect myself, even if I wanted to. She's like twice my size." And this is where Cardi's testimony gets really interesting, because she's painting a picture of someone who was vulnerable, pregnant, about 130 pounds, facing off against a much larger security guard who was following and recording her.
Because I'm pregnant and this girl's about to fucking beat my ass. Hello?
Hello. Hello. I'm here.
But the viral moment that had everyone comparing this to an SNL skit came during cross-examination. What do you think of these courtroom moments so far? Let me know in the comments if you're Team Cardi, or if you think there's more to this story. During one of the most memed exchanges, Ellis's attorney was trying to get technical about legal terminology, throwing around phrases like form interrogatories and request for admissions, basically trying to confuse Cardi with legal jargon.
Do you know what's discovery?
Yes.
What are form interrogatories?
Oh, honey, I don't know what that means.
What is special interrogatories?
I do not know.
What are requests for admissions? You don't know, right?
Then he asked,
When I'm talking to you now, are we having a verbal altercation?
Cardi's response,
We having, I'll say, a debate.
she has this incredible ability to cut through nonsense with simple, honest responses that make everyone else's dramatics look ridiculous. But my personal favorite viral moment came when they were discussing Ellis's size compared to Cardi's. When asked if Ellis was bigger than her, Cardi responded,
You said she's bigger than you? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
How do you know that?
I mean, look.
Physically bigger? She's taller?
I mean, you have her medical records,
I don't
right?
have anything. I'm asking you the question.
I mean, I was 130 pounds at that time.
So she's overweight, right? In your opinion.
Objection, relevant.
It's sustained.
It's a little.
You don't need to answer me.
Okay. Make fun of her that she was overweight when you were there in the hallway?
I don't think so.
Did you call her fat?
No, I was calling her a. Yes, but she is like.
What? Say it.
Security heavy. Like she could protect the building. Type big. You know what I'm saying? She just
Right.
looked more developed than me.
The facial expressions, the gestures, the perfect delivery. It was pure Cardi, and the internet ate it up. People were saying it was like watching someone roast their opponent during their own lawsuit. But here's what's getting lost in all the memes and laughter. While everyone's been focused on Cardi's comedic timing and wig changes, the most crucial testimony came from someone who actually witnessed the incident, Tiara Malcolm, the receptionist at the doctor's office. Malcolm's testimony should be front-page news because it basically destroys Ellis's entire case. According to Malcolm, she heard a commotion in the hallway and came out to see what was happening. She testified that she saw no physical fighting whatsoever. None. Zero. Just two women arguing verbally. And she assumed it came from Ellis because Ellis was facing her while Malcolm's back was to Cardi.
When you were there, did Miss Ellis attempt to strike Cardi B?
There was hands going while I was in the middle. I know no one landed, or I didn't even realize, I guess because my adrenaline, that I had a mark on my forehead. Besides me getting a scratch, nobody, as far as them two, hit each other.
Who scratched you?
Based off of, like I said, I didn't know that I even got scratched until I went into the office and the nurse was like, Tiara, your forehead. But I can only assume Cardi B was behind me because that was my main concern.
Let that sink in for a moment. The only person who apparently got scratched during this violent assault was the receptionist, and it came from the person who's claiming to be the victim. Malcolm's testimony corroborates Cardi's version of events entirely. Verbal argument, chest-to-chest positioning, receptionist intervening. No physical contact between Cardi and Ellis. When the judge asked Malcolm to characterize the argument and she said she wasn't sure if she could swear in court,
Be this, be that. I don't know if I can curse, but...
Judge Ian Fusselman responded,
So we've heard just about everything so far.
Okay.
which got laughs from the entire courtroom. But this isn't just funny. It's legally devastating to Ellis's case. You have an independent witness who saw the whole thing, supports the defendant's version of events, and potentially got injured by the plaintiff rather than the defendant. And yet, Ellis is still asking for $24 million. But wait, there's more witness testimony that makes this case even more questionable. Dr. David Finke, the obstetrician Cardi was visiting, also testified as a witness, and his account is absolutely damning for Ellis's case. Dr. Finke testified that he rushed out of his office when he heard the loud disturbance in the hallway. According to him, Ellis was flailing her arms and out of control during what he called an epic yelling match. But here's the bombshell. Dr. Finke testified that he witnessed Ellis strike the receptionist, not the other way around. He said there was a lot of yelling, a lot of finger pointing, and that Ellis hit his receptionist on the shoulder. The doctor also testified that he clearly saw a phone in Ellis's hand during the incident, which contradicts Ellis's claim that she wasn't using her phone at the time. So now we have two independent witnesses, the receptionist and the doctor, both saying that Ellis was the aggressor, that there was no physical contact between Cardi and Ellis, and that Ellis was the one being violent toward other people.
As soon as I got into the hallway and realized what was going on, my receptionist was between the plaintiff and the defendant, and there was a lot of yelling, a lot of finger pointing. My receptionist was struck. I remember it was like on the shoulder kind of thing. I think it was her right shoulder. And there was a phone in the security guard's hand, and the phone kept going back from the ear to point and then back to the ear. And at one point, kind of both hands were kind of flailing. I was trying to match sort of with body language, the intensity of it, to get across the point that this was not okay. And this is your job.
Who did you address that to?
Mrs. Ellis.
This is the kind of testimony that destroys lawsuits. When your own version of events is contradicted by every independent witness, and those witnesses say you were actually the one being aggressive, that's not a good look. And yet, we're still talking about $24 million. Let's talk about that number for a moment, because it's absolutely wild. $24 million for a 60-second verbal argument outside a doctor's office 7 years ago. To put that in perspective, that's more money than most people will earn in their entire lifetimes. For an incident that lasted less time than a commercial break, where independent witnesses say nothing physical happened, where there's no evidence, no police report from the time, and a story that keeps changing. Ellis claims she suffered from anxiety, depression, PTSD, insomnia, and body shaming as a result of this incident. She says she needed psychological and medical treatment. She got cosmetic surgery for a facial scar. But here's what doesn't add up. If this was so traumatic, why wait 2 years to file the lawsuit? If the assault was so violent, why is there no contemporaneous evidence? If Cardi B was hurling racial slurs and spitting on people, why didn't anyone call the police immediately? And most importantly, if Ellis was just doing her job as building security, why was she apparently filming a celebrity who had specifically arranged for a private appointment? The more you look at this case, the more it starts to feel like someone saw a very famous, very wealthy person and decided that a brief argument could be turned into a life-changing payday. But let's not forget, this isn't happening in a vacuum. This lawsuit comes at a very interesting time. Here's the uncomfortable truth about this whole situation. Ellis's case follows a predictable pattern we see with celebrity lawsuits. File shocking claims, demand millions in damages, hope for a settlement rather than a trial, because most celebrities quietly pay up to avoid the hassle. But Cardi B decided to fight this case. And honestly, good for her. She's not just defending herself. She's sending a message that not every celebrity is going to roll over for questionable lawsuits. And it's working. Ellis's case is falling apart under scrutiny. The lack of evidence, independent witnesses contradicting her story, inconsistencies in her testimony, and behavior that doesn't match someone who experienced trauma. But there's something else troubling about this trial that goes beyond the memes. The way Ellis's attorney has been questioning Cardi has some serious racial undertones, asking about her hair and wigs, the inappropriate gang affiliation question, trying to make her repeat profanities to her face until the judge intervened. These aren't random tactics. These are attempts to make a successful black woman fit harmful stereotypes that might sway a jury. And frankly, it's backfiring. The internet sees right through it, and Cardi's handling it with grace while still defending herself effectively. The timing is also interesting. This trial happens just weeks before Cardi's album, Am I the Drama, drops September 19th. While I don't think Ellis planned this, the irony isn't lost that Cardi's getting sympathetic publicity right before a major release, with everyone seeing her as funny and relatable, while Ellis looks increasingly opportunistic. Based on all the testimony and evidence, here's what actually happened. Ellis was working building security when Cardi arrived for her private pregnancy appointment. Instead of being discreet, literally her job, Ellis started filming and loudly announcing she'd seen the famous rapper. Cardi, trying to keep her pregnancy secret, confronted Ellis about this unprofessional behavior. Ellis got defensive. The situation escalated into a heated verbal argument lasting about 50 seconds. When the receptionist and doctor came out to break it up, Ellis was the one being physical, which is how the receptionist ended up scratched by Ellis, not Cardi. Ellis possibly got fired for unprofessional conduct. 2 years later, when Cardi was at peak success and worth millions, Ellis decided that argument was worth $24 million and filed this lawsuit. But here's what doesn't add up. Ellis originally claimed Cardi used her celebrity power to get her fired and destroy evidence, but her legal team recently dropped those claims. Why drop such serious accusations unless you realized you couldn't prove them? Also, if Cardi was powerful enough to orchestrate cover-ups, why would Ellis wait 2 years to sue? If someone had that much power and was working against you, wouldn't you file immediately? The evidence supports Cardi entirely. Independent witnesses contradict Ellis's story. Ellis's own post-incident behavior, engaging Cardi on social media, trying to get the receptionist to help with her claim, doesn't match someone traumatized by assault. Even the receptionist knew her honest testimony wouldn't help Ellis's case, which should tell you everything. And honestly, the fact that she's doing it with humor, authenticity, and grace, while her attorney objects to inappropriate questioning, just makes me respect her more. This trial has accidentally become the perfect promotional campaign for someone whose brand is built on keeping it real and not letting people take advantage of her. The album Am I the Drama drops September 19th, and after watching this trial, I think we all know the answer to that question. Cardi B might attract drama, but she's usually not the one starting it.
The real drama seems to come from people who see her success and decide they deserve a piece of it, even if they have to file questionable lawsuits to get it. But based on how this trial is going, those people might want to think twice before trying this approach in the future.
Because Cardi B just showed everyone that sometimes the best defense against frivolous lawsuits is to show up, tell the truth, and let your authentic self shine through, even if that means making the entire internet laugh at your opponent's expense. And honestly, that's the kind of energy we need more of in 2025. What do you think the jury is going to decide? Drop your predictions in the comments below. The trial resumes Tuesday, September 2nd, with closing arguments expected. But based on everything we've seen so far, this case is already closed in the court of public opinion.